All right, guys, welcome back to the MVM Show. It's myself, Tom, and Thomas here today, and just got done eating a little breakfast, a little chilaquiles. My stomach is on fire right now, and so
I don't feel bad for you.
Neil told me I'm gonna get the sting ring later. I never heard that term, but
good. Yeah,
you gonna get the old sting ring?
uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure because it feels like I have a heater in my stomach right now. A little too much chiles in my killis.
Yeah. You got to go the safe route, dude. You need the honey chicken sandwich. Well, Wendy's.
Little Wendy's without extra. I guess you did have extra this time.
Extra honey butter. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're gonna be smacking like a kid eating peanut butter.
Ugh. With a little milk.
Yeah. Without milk.
Yeah, you need milk,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So I told you guys I was going to get Thomas on for part 2 of lessons learned / benefits of a duck boat. We've probably off and on mentioned some of the stuff that we have just randomly through not specific, but for those looking into getting a little duck boat, if it's a 12-footer, 15-footer, bigger, something bigger, 17, whatever, this would definitely help. I think lessons learned, things we've experienced. So Thomas, I said in the last one, Thomas was going to do more, kind of get more off filling and stuff, but I kind of had mine. I wrote a few more down for this time, but Thomas is going to kind of lead us off and stuff. He had some good ones he was telling me before we started this, he said.
All right, so something I just thought of literally as you're talking right now that probably everyone's going to do when you buy the boat. Like you said, whether it's a 12-footer, 14, I mean, you can get them all shapes and sizes, right? V-hole, flat bottom, anything. Probably no matter what you buy, the first thing you're going to do is figure out how much weight or gear you can carry and what speed you're going to go. You know, and how,
yeah,
and
I think about that.
Yeah, because just thinking about, lessons learned, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. We basically went on a trip and we had 4 guys and gear, and we were never able to get up to plane.
Yeah.
So we were just pushing water the entire ride, so we were only going, I don't know, 5 miles an hour or something like that. So, and we actually didn't even really think of that. So we ended up having to cut some of our gear back. So yeah, that was four guys, a dog, and a bunch of gear. So, yeah, I mean, take that into account. I mean, I know boats aren't always the cheapest thing, and inflation is the way it is right now. So, but I mean, if you're planning on hunting with 4 guys and you got a dog and all that, just take that into account. We got a 1754 with a 40-horse gator tail on it, and even with that, that's pushing it. So, that's one thing to think about that we obviously didn't at first.
Yeah, because I think we're so used to like bass boats or like ski boats that it doesn't really have that effect. And I mean, you got bigger motors on it too,
right?
And they're not service driven, which I think that's why a lot of guys use those outboards that we see locals usually.
Yeah, and see now maybe an outboard wouldn't have that problem. You know what I mean? Because they're a little faster.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something you
look
think
at
about.
Jake's boat with that little, is it 14? I think it's 14-foot little V bottom with a 15 Johnson and full. He's going like me, Jake, and Nathaniel hit. Now that wasn't full gear, but we hit 20. So I think they do with the little 15 horse. So I think they do grab a little better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. Things to think about. But then again, when he has a V bottom and he's trying to go up, when we're going in like 10 inches of water, he ain't going to be able to do that. Now his is light enough he could carry it or just get out and push and he'd probably be fine. But just things.
Yeah. I mean, everything's got its pros and cons. What your area is, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to try to find out what guys in your area use. But anyways, yeah. I mean, like I said, doesn't matter if you have a 20-foot boat or a 12-foot boat. You're always going to be messing with those things at first, figuring out what you can carry and how fast you're going with this and all that kind of stuff.
It's little tweaks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it takes a little while, different scenarios. Yeah. That was bad, though. And see, I'll say the lesson learned and the negative about having the 4 guys, the decoys, the dog, and honestly a lot of camera gear was whatever. If you go 10 miles an hour, let's just say if you were going 10 miles an hour, well, think how limited you are by time. Me and Thomas can run up going 30 miles, 30 to 35 with 6 dozen decoys. We can go 30 and we can run 10 miles, and that only takes us whatever the math is on that. Like 10 miles, I guess that would take, my brain just went fuzzy because if you're going 60, that's 10. That'd only take you 10 minutes to go 10 miles. Yeah. Whereas it still would only take us 20. That's not that bad. Or right? To go 10 miles, it'd probably take a little longer than that.
If you're going 10 miles an hour, that would be an hour. Right?
No, I was talking about if you were going, me and you were like going 30.
Yeah.
So it would take 20 minutes.
But I mean, if you got 4 guys in there and you're only going 10.
Right. I was just trying to say, me and you, we're only taking 20 minutes. Right. With us, we're taking an hour. Yeah. One way. Uh-huh. And it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I know you don't want to do that. Yeah. So it really hindered us big time on that trip.
Not only that, but if there are other guys in boats, they're going to zoom right past you.
Yeah. And that wasn't even an issue dealing with other guys during that trip. It was just like, we're not going to spend an hour running up to this spot. Mm-hmm. We know we can get there in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it really hurt us because we don't know. Like, we're wondering still, there was a ton of birds up there. We're wondering, like, where they moved, but did they push over there? Mm-hmm. And we really missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yep. So just things to think about.
Yeah.
What else we got? Oh, so another thing I wrote down is I had the not notion, but like I had the thought of, you get a boat, you don't have to deal with anybody anymore, which that is true in a sense. Like, you definitely can get, a lot further away and get into areas that's only accessible to boats. Mm-hmm. But you still can't get too comfortable and thinking, oh, I'll just get there, I'll just get there, right before shoot or, for shoot time. That's not how it works. Obviously, the duck hunters, we know that. I'm sure it's happened to everyone at least once, getting beat to the spot that you were planning on going. And
it's not good
and it could happen on any day. It could happen Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It doesn't matter. You can't get too comfortable in thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be, 5 miles from, any other potential hunters, because that doesn't mean that someone's not going to be there, So stay on it. Stay hard.
Yeah, stay serious. That's for sure.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable. Don't get too lazy.
I was still mad at myself on that last one.
Yeah.
Because there's never a reason to not try your best. Mm-hmm. Like, if I let's just say I don't think I would do this, but like, let's say I want to get there by 1:00 in the morning. I'm just like, I'm getting that spot, and somebody beats me there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be mad at myself. I'm going to be a little bummed, but I can figure something out. But I'm not going to be mad because I gave it my best. Like, that's pretty crazy to do, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm going to show up an hour before shoot time, I just don't have no excuse for that. Like, I can't forgive myself for being that lazy. Like, that's just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, yeah, I want to at least know I tried as hard as I could. Mm-hmm. If someone beats me, then more power to them. That's a good job. They wanted a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
and then you have time to pivot. You got time to make another plan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because then you're that late now. Sun's come. Yeah, it's not. There's no call for that. I mean, if people want to do that, more power to them. But I can't. That will bother me for the whole day. I'll be thinking back to that. That was a while back. I'm still thinking about it. Mm-hmm. It irritates me.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, so next one I was thinking about is, at least for us, we're going to a lot of new areas a lot, and places and spots we've never seen, never been. This sounds like common sense, and it is. But you never know what's under the water unless it's perfectly clear. But you don't know if there's rocks, there's snags, if there's mud, how shallow it is,
Sandbars,
So, a lot of times you can be scouting and just moving fast, 20 miles an hour, whatever it is. And if you're not careful, I mean, you might come into a shallow spot, even for like a flat bottom with a surface drive, and you could get yourself in trouble. I mean, obviously, you guys all heard about the story with the mud flat on us, and I mean, there's no way him or I would have known about that, So, so just, I mean, a takeaway is, a lot of times now we're just, if there's a spot that we're thinking about hunting, we're obviously we're idling, and we're checking depth, in the whole area, and obviously looking at the water. Like I said, it's common sense, but just think about that. Don't be in too much of a hurry to get set up or, whatever. And just pay attention to the depth, because, I mean, you can, at least with our boat, you can still run on something, whether if it's a rock or just mud or sand or whatever, and you can push yourself back easy as long as you're, moving slow. But if you're moving too fast, you could definitely wedge yourself where you're going to have to get out, potentially slip, fall in, whatever. So just be cognizant of that, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to that too. I'm not saying it's going to keep you completely safe, but it's a thought is a lot of times when you go on Google Maps or Google Earth and you're looking at something, pre-scouting it on your phone before you go out there, is you can, a lot of times it will help you. I'm not saying it's the safe route, but you can look and you can kind of see on Google Earth where shallow spots are, because you can kind of see that discoloration of like a sandier look through, like say a river or lake. That's definitely, don't use that as your like full means of like, oh, I looked at it. I mean, now me and Thomas don't want to do anything without basically looking at it in the daytime. Like running out there in the dark without ever being there is not the coolest thing. But you can, like we've looked before and like, oh yeah, that looks sandy, and then you get out there, it actually is kind of what it looks like on Google Maps. So that's something you can at least use as something to help you before you go somewhere. But I would definitely say with Thomas, yeah, just be careful. Because I don't know how deep, it wasn't deep. It was like an inch of water on that thing, that flat, 2 inches.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, lessons learned. I don't know if you would have, actually, I don't believe you'd have got out of there with a outboard, because the only way we got out is by ripping that surface drive back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm sure if anybody's listening from like down south, I'm sure they know all about it, dealing with more mud, but it was just a bear to get that thing started. But it did. Eventually it did. I mean, it took a while, but it did. Yeah.
They're pretty incredible what you can put them through. For sure.
Yeah. So I think, as far as benefits, I think we touched on it already, is you can carry more gear and food, which is that just adds to, I guess, the comfort or the, convenience of the hunt. That is nice. Obviously, there is limits to that. Like we mentioned already, is too much weight or whatever. And then I wrote down, we kind of touched on it already, is just fast access to areas you can't get to by foot. And what I meant by that was, depending on where you hunt, there's areas that it's not bad to like walk through the water or walk to get to where you'd hunt. But there's also areas that it's so thick that you actually couldn't get there if you were walking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like whether it's just sloughs or too brushy, whatever it is, there is those areas that the only way to get there is by boat, because the land around it's too rough. It's too gnarly to get. It doesn't matter. It's just not. You're just not going to do it. So those types of areas, I think, are best for boat hunters, just because you don't even have the potential for guys to walk in.
Right.
Because nobody, like, if I'm hunting from the boat, I don't want to go hunt where guys can go walk in from. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Like, that's the whole point of the boat, is getting further away from those areas.
Or like you got private behind you, 300-400 yards. Like, there's no access to anybody drive in. Like, but you're legal to be where you're at on the river. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah,
you're not worried about that. Because we've had the other way.
Yeah,
where you can walk in, you're like, dude.
Yeah. And then there's no benefit. Then.
Yeah,
except for you don't have to
more
carry
stuff.
Yeah.
You can take more stuff and whatever. That's the only benefit.
Yeah.
Less no walking, no packing on your back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So those were the main things I was wanting to touch on.
Okay. Mine was just like opens up a lot of options. I mean, you kind of said that in a roundabout way. Like, I mean, for us in California, like if we're hunting refuge only, I mean, that just opens up a whole new world for us, and the ability to travel too. Going to trout. Not that you can't do that. We did that walking in for a long time, traveling. But it just adds another whole list of things you can do. And man, duck hunting is nice to have tons of options. It's like, because we have our boat with us, I mean, maybe you don't feel this way, but like, if for some reason, like, we couldn't get on them somewhere with a boat and we saw some good potential in walk-in spots, I mean, I'm pretty sure you would jump in, walk in right behind me. You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to do that. There's no reason not to. The other thing, if I was getting a boat, like, for sure we got that hydroturf. That's something I would definitely always have in there, just for slip purposes, not slipping, plus sound too, and grip. Just stuff not sliding around the boat when you're driving or turning or excelling or stopping, whatever. I think it's just a great thing to have in there. But yeah, I really didn't have. I knew I was kind of letting it all be about what you had written down and stuff. I mean, we're sitting at 20 minutes already, but you kind of already said everything I was gonna try to add on from the last one.
So I thought something we could talk about is, as far as the way the boat's configured.
Oh yeah, what we would change,
what we would possibly do different, or what we like and don't like. Just briefly, I mean, I know there's a lot. I mean, we've had a couple things. I don't want to say break down, but I guess wear and tear. We've had a couple things that we've changed. I don't think I was expecting to change that much, especially like with the use. Do you know how many hours we have on it now?
I don't. I'd be guessing.
Yeah.
It's got to be 65, 70.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've changed the back nav light because the bulb basically rusted out, and we've changed the bilge pump, and then we've changed the trim motor switch, and what else? We haven't had to mess with the battery, though the battery did seem a little low on our last trip.
I know. In the back of my mind, I'm like, should we just put a fresh one on there?
It's not that long though. Like,
it's not.
It's
2
only
years is not
yeah.
long. It should be fine.
Yeah.
I would definitely, before the start of a third season, I'd just put a fresh one in there. Yeah. I don't want to jack with that. I don't want that going out on me.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want going out when you're. Yeah. I mean, when we went with that guy out in the ocean for a stupid battery, we couldn't even start his dumb boat. Oh, that's the dumbest reason to miss a trip or not be able to go out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways,
I don't know why that trim switch did that though. That's what I don't. Did you think something? Maybe it got a little slice in that rubber, and maybe water just got up in there and caused some rusting and some
It's either
corrosion.
that or just the connectors were never that tight to begin with. Because that other one would just slide off and on.
There is a lot of vibration in that handle, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, there's that. And I mean, it's not the best. It's not the best design. I mean, everything's mostly wired like that, but it's not like the absolute best if it's hard use on it.
Yeah. It should be more like a switch, like a toggle switch, like the metal ones that come out, the real kind of heavy duty ones, instead of just like a soft button.
Well,
maybe.
That's not the part that failed. It was just the blade and the, I don't know what you call it, but the connector that slides onto that blade, it was just loose. And if it's
right,
loose,
but I mean, that little piece you had was just like only about this big, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, those toggle switches have the same connectors in the back.
Yeah, but I was just thinking if it's not rubber, like all that whole piece where stuff could get in there, I feel like water is if it got slices in that rubber, it could maybe water get in there.
Yeah.
I'm saying if it was enclosed completely with just a switch, maybe that would be. I don't know. I'm just thinking, why would it do that? It's got to be vibration.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that and a lot of use. I don't know.
You know what's funny about that is when you're driving that thing, I remember when we first started driving, I felt like, man, like your hand's going to go numb or something because of the vibration. I don't even think that anymore.
Yeah.
Do you even notice that at all?
Maybe because we're wearing gloves now? I don't know. But yeah, no, I don't think that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do remember that.
Yeah, like, sheesh.
It was like, a lot of vibration. But so, I mean, back to that. I mean, I guess that's not a terrible lot. It's not like it's been too expensive. And, but I guess where was I going with that? The bilge pump wasn't really.
I know the problem with that.
It was kind of the rain that did that.
There should not be, in my opinion, I don't want a bilge pump on there that's set up to be self. There's a word for they call that bilge pump.
Basically, it turns on its own.
And it's like I don't agree with that. I don't like that because if it's gonna rain, I'm gonna go pull my plug and let it do its thing. I don't want a bilge pump that even though I have my battery connector off, that's still gonna run. And if it rains all night, it's gonna run all night. It's just gonna fry that thing. And I know that's what happened. It's exactly what happened to it. That's draining your battery at some point
as it's turning on,
right?
Yeah.
And what happens if it runs for 6 hours? That can't be good. So I don't like that. I don't like that feature. I'd rather have one that you turn on manually. By the way, we can turn ours on manually, but like if it hits a certain point with the float, it's gonna just turn on. So I don't know, but yeah, you had to change that out, and I know it's just because it just runs so much because of rain and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
but.
Well, as far as the setup, I think the thing I'd change is we put that bench in the back, and instead of the bench, I think a pod would be better, just as something to sit on, and then a box on the side, like running the length of the boat mainly to put the guns in. We thought that's what we were going to be able to do on that bench, but there's always stuff you got to carry. There's just stuff, you know.
Well, and you can't. Unless you take the gun out of its case, it will not fit in that. And I do believe that's called a gun box, isn't it? So it's like, well, it ain't a gun box. You mean I'm not sticking my bare gun in there, getting banged around in there while we're driving out to a spot. So yeah, we were disappointed in that because it was like, okay, well, that's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
and they do offer. GatorTail does offer those side boxes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just next time.
Yeah, like I said, just something to think about. And then what else? We do love the timber deck, the job deck in the back. That's a must.
I was told that we needed that too, and that they were right.
That is awesome. I really haven't had any complaints about the motor itself. Have you? Yeah, no. It's been solid. We changed the prop out once. Just wear and tear, that thing gets hammered.
Yeah.
But it can take a beating though.
That's true. And then the benefit of that service drive is the fact that you go over something real shallow you didn't know was there, it just bounces, right? Like the whole motor just kind of skips over it. Might get a little loud because you're hitting the prop, but in the end, if you were in a outboard, man, you'd be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd be paddling back because I mean the stuff we've hit. There's no way
Yeah.
a service drive would have took that beating.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat when you look back there and you look at how that does that surface drive. I mean, it's just literally sitting right on top of the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty neat how that actually works. And if you had a smaller, lighter boat with that kind of motor, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even unloaded, even in that boat, like if you don't have someone sitting in the front, that front does sometimes want to like come up and start
Porpoise.
bouncing. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say something else about adding. You said something that triggered my brain, but now I can't think of it. Oh, what about a winch though? We've talked about that. I mean,
yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure it would be nice. I don't know how much we'd use it. I mean, it could. It would be that one time that would pay for itself, you know. But
we could have used it that one day, couldn't have we? Possibly. And we were stuck.
I don't think so, because we were on the ground and there's nothing out in the water to pull yourself out to, you know.
Yeah, but no, someone came up with something and told us about it, and we're like, oh, we never thought of that. I can't remember what it was.
Putting like an anchor or something in?
Yeah, it was something. We were like, oh, yeah, I guess you could have used that. I don't remember how it was. I thought
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anyone do it, but maybe if you could walk your anchor out a ways and then like maybe even put a stake in there or something and smash it down in the mud. I don't know if it would just rip that anchor to you or if it'd actually move your boat. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely just another tool, right? It's definitely be a good thing. What about the boat blind that we put on?
Yeah, that's a good one. I was actually meant to bring that up. I don't know, dude. What's
your opinion on hunting from the boat versus out of the boat? Like actually standing in and shooting out of the boat?
I had a good hunt with Kevin one time out of the boat with the boat blind. I will say it was nice, right? Because you're dry. Mm-hmm. Dogs are in there with you. You got a box of shells. You got everything laid out. Mm-hmm. You're cozy. Mm-hmm. It is nice, but it's a ton of work to get that thing brushed properly. Like you really need to, not sloppy and like, oh, we'll just get away. It's a lot of, it took us, and we're not afraid of that hard work, but how many times have you really seen when we're hunting that we could have even did that? That would have benefited us.
Not a ton.
Really, not a lot. It's coming down now.
Definitely, there are definitely those times, but yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's way bigger than a person.
Yeah,
you know, and you got to get that thing covered in
completely.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I know it's kind of
catch-22.
Kind of feel bad sometimes. I'm like, it just sits there because honestly, a lot of trips we go on and we're just leaving it. Because that is nice though. That is nice to have the quick disconnects. It's 4 little pins, pop it off, boom, take it out. Or if you want to take it with you, put it in, pop it. It's easy. It was a pain to put together, but it is. If I had to pick one again, I'd probably still pick the same one. I feel like. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of other ones to test them out and try, but I mean, it's really easy. It's boom, you phrase 4 corners and you're set, and then you just got to brush it in. That's the biggest thing. So it is cozy hunting out of it, but I think I've literally only done it that once with Kevin. No, I did it once with me and Caleb, and I know you did it with Darian and the kids, but
yeah, that wasn't like super serious hunt, but yeah, we did hunt out of the boat, and yeah, it is nice. It's super nice. Yeah, like I said, you just have to have the right situation, the right vegetation, spot to park, all that, you know? So, anyways.
I think that's pretty much for the most part. Lights. I mean, I feel like I've crop dusting and ag for years, and I've done a lot of night spraying, and you can never have too many lights, right? So, like at night, I feel like one thing, if we really wanted to do the wiring, which is something I'm scared of. I'm just not good with that stuff. Thomas is, but I wouldn't be hurt to add more lights on that thing. Like inside lights around the inside of the boat, like guys will do under the rail, like the T-rail, the gunner T-rail. Add lights in there. I don't really care about them being on the outside as far as the perimeter of it. I would like rooster lights, and there's a reason why. And I thought that was stupid at first. Now I'm like, I think I know why people put rooster lights. It's not about cool looks. I'm sure that's why some guys get it. But I do believe it's for a specific purpose, and that is, I know now I don't even have to look at the RPMs on the motor to know where I need to be to trim out where I need to be. I'm looking at my rooster tail now. Like, I know when that thing's about a foot above the motor, we're about the right RPM. And usually that will always be around 4,700 RPM. So I would like to add that. I would like to have that. I like the inside ones. And then also some side, I don't know if I'd want spots or if I would want floods on the side. Because our light has, I think the middle is spot or flood. What is that? Or is the middle flood and then the spot? Because if you look at that, it's actually two different kinds right there.
Spot's always in the middle.
Spot in the middle, and then the flood's on the side. And maybe add another spot on either side of that, pointing more like even farther. I think we're pretty good with lighting right now, but it just doesn't hurt to add more. Better you can see, the better, safer you are.
Yeah, I mean, ours is pretty much straightforward. I think if you had a slight angle outward, it'd be better. It'd be better, yeah.
But when you got any, like, hint of steam or fog, dude, it's pointless. Yeah. Like, you literally can't see. I don't know, the way to combat that really is like in your car, you just turn your low beams on, but you don't have that option in your duck boat. But
yeah.
Bottom line is, if you can't go fast, no one else can either. So just be safe.
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely find a reference to lands possibly, or turn your lights off and see if it's a clear night.
Better, yeah.
You might be able to see, a little bit better. But anyways,
yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we'll end there, guys. Hopefully, this will end this little 2-part series of this. I'm sure there's other stuff we're going to learn. It's not like you're never stop learning, but for the most part, I think we covered the big things. So, anyways, if you guys enjoy this one, stay tuned. We got some good hunts coming up this week. Well, some hunt videos drop. That's been on the back burner, sitting there and waiting for me to edit. So we'll try to keep the hunts. We'll start rolling this week till the end of season. So stay tuned. We'll see you guys in the next one.